Jennifer Eileen, and I am so delighted to welcome you to my cafe, my Pet Info Cafe. Pour yourself a warm cup of your favorite and let's chat about our love of animals. On today's show, I would like you to meet the volunteer team who are dedicated to helping homeless pets find their way to loving homes through rescue and adoption. But first, we'll hear from Dawn Wallace, Executive Director, about who rescued whom.
Favorite part about volunteering here?
My favorite thing about volunteering?
This.
Just seeing the impact you can have on dogs.
Just coming here and not thinking about anything but just hanging out with some animals and helping them and being outside, I can't think of much better actually.
Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is a nonprofit organization, so we are a 501c3. We are a rescue, so we work with shelters who are experiencing overcrowding or they're overcapacity, or they have animals that are at the risk of euthanasia, and we transfer those animals to us, where we're able to then care for them here in our rescue care center, be able to get them into foster homes, both dogs and cats, which gives them an opportunity to find a loving home and get adopted. So happy for her. On an annual basis, we intake and adopt out about 2,200 to 2,500 dogs and cats. In the past 20 years, we have successfully saved and adopted out over 40,000. We are closer to about 45,000 now. So the organization is really unique in its structure in the fact that we are primarily powered by volunteer manpower. On any given day, we have about 3 or 4 paid employees. There are animal care technicians, and on average, 30 to 50 volunteers that are cycling into the building on a daily basis. Now the volunteers play a role because they absolutely expand everything that we do here at the Rescue Care Center. So things like dog walking, caring for cats in our cat room, giving them exercise, giving them play groups where we take our dogs outside and our dogs get a chance to interact with each other. They get a chance to be dogs basically and play. And all the other elements, enrichment, we have so many ways that people can get involved here. There's a lot of opportunity to figure out what fits for each person, and that we don't care what that is. I don't care if it's an hour they come in and spend or they choose to be here all day long with us. We're happy and grateful for every moment that our volunteers are helping. And we know that they will experience that giving back, and that's what will keep them coming back again and again and again.
My favorite thing about volunteering here.
My favorite part, knowing that you're, number one, taking care of animals that need our help, and number two, when you fall in love with a cat or a dog and they receive a good home, I mean, that's just the best.
I'm a huge dog person, so I really enjoy it. I get to spend time with the dogs.
Just seeing them happy is what makes me happy.
Being around the animals, of course, just making friends, perhaps.
You feel like you do something special.
The dogs. That's why I'm here. I just love to be around them, and they're wonderful.
The easy answer to that is the animals. If in the heart of every volunteer, their focus is being able to be part of that dog or cat's day, you know, the saying who rescued who becomes a very real thing, I believe, for most volunteers. And when their focus is focused on the animals, it's what brings them back.
Welcome back. Please welcome the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation volunteers Kelly Turek and Michaela Fox. Welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
so great to have you here and talk about my favorite topic, cats. And not just the musical, but let's hear all about it. So Kelly, tell us about your role and your experience with cats.
So my role at Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is as the volunteer program manager. So that's really trying to bring people in and find places where their skills and their desires meet our needs and the needs of the animals. I have had a couple of different hats while I've been at the rescue, which also included the cat foster coordinator. And so I work with the cat team a lot. I'm also a cat foster, very near and dear to my heart as an opportunity. And I work a lot with our intakes. You know, when we bring those cats in, and you know, sometimes it's 20 cats that are coming in one day. And it's just amazing to see them, you know, and know that we have hope.
Yeah.
They have a life ahead of them.
That is
with a loving home.
Yeah. Oh, that's very exciting. And Michaela, you also work with cat adoption. Can you tell us about someone wants to adopt a cat? How does that work?
Sure. So ever since the pandemic, we've been doing all of our cat adoptions pretty much completely virtually. So if someone wants to adopt a cat with us, they would go to our website, scroll through all of our cuties and see who they might be interested in. They fill out an adoption application that comes to me. And then we work to make sure that we have the best fit for the cat and for the family. And then from there, they talk to our adoption counselors and get the cat all settled into their forever home.
Oh, that's so beautiful. When you're adopting a cat, what are some of the examples of what's a good match for someone?
I think it depends a lot on what the family is looking for. So if they are interested in, you know, a cat that is going to be younger, they need to know that that cat's going to have a lot of that kitten energy. We are coming up on kitten season. So
yes.
I think it depends on if they're home a lot and have a lot of that time to give to the cats, that they can really kind of wear them into the ground and get all that playtime in and all that energy out. Or if they're looking for more of like a cuddly lap cat who just kind of wants to hang out with you and be your buddy. So it really depends on what kind of personality the person has and then how we can match that up to the personalities of the cat.
That's great. Now, do any of your cats have tech training? Because all of my coworkers have their cats sitting on their keyboards and we get pictures constantly of that.
Oh yes, absolutely. And that usually finds its way into their bios. So if you're looking for someone to spotlight in your Zoom calls, we definitely have some cats that love to, you know, walk right across your keyboard.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's perfect. Now you also wear another hat with Lost Dog Cat and Rescue Foundation. So, and that has to do with marketing. That must be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. So I'm the co-lead of our marketing team. So we do all of the social media side of everything. So making sure that all of our dogs and cats have a chance to get their faces shown on our social media to help promote them and try to get more interested either fosters or potential adopters to our website to see the work that we do. And we try to do a lot to just make sure that everybody's getting seen, and especially those dogs that maybe are a little bit harder to adopt. So some of our seniors, some of our special needs dogs especially that are bonded are often harder to adopt because people are less willing to or able to take two dogs at once into their house. So we try to get those dogs a lot of action on our social media to try and, you know, get the word around that there's these sweet babies that need a home.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how often do you find that cats come in bonded pairs? Do you find that?
Yes, cats are more often to become bonded, especially from a young age. If they're in a litter, they might, they're usually fostered with their whole litter, and so two of them might become bonded and, you know, inseparable, lovable buddies. It's usually a little bit easier to adopt out a bonded pair of cats. And it usually works out really well, especially for those younger ones who kind of need a buddy. Even if it's a single younger cat, we like to adopt them into a home with either a cat-friendly dog or a cat-friendly cat that can kind of show them the ropes of the new home and give them someone to play with when their human friends are not available.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about senior pets, particularly senior cats. How does that work, and who's a good fit for a senior cat?
Well, I mean, I would say in some cases it's the same as the matchmaking that we talk about, right? You know, it's what the temperament is. You know, I've seen some very active senior cats actually, troublemakers, and ones that just want to have somebody, a constant companion, And so I think that it's understanding that, as well as that there are going to be potentially escalating veterinary needs, and being open to that and understanding of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, my kitties have grown up now. It's hard to admit that that little kitten is now a senior cat. You know, I totally understand that transition. And then tell me about the cats that you have fostered and that, you know, some good examples.
Oh, well, I've often sworn I won't foster kittens, but I always seem to end up with a litter of kittens at my house. And they are just so wonderful, but so much energy, as we mentioned, with those kittens. But I've had seniors as well, 13-year-old cats that have fostered in my place, and to watch them, a lot of times I get the shy ones, and you know, to watch them come out of their shell and you know, realize that it's safe, and that, you know, there's love, and that there's an opportunity to show their true self.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, there was such a rush of adoptions during when people were shut at home with the pandemic. What do you see now in terms of adoption interest and availability?
I think it ebbs and flows. We usually get a lot of people interested during kitten season, which is kind of now through the start of fall. I think people are interested in, you know, those cute little guys. So we get a lot of interest in our kittens. It's kind of like a madhouse on our end. Well, I work virtually, so kind of a madhouse on me and my computer, you know, trying to get these cats out and adopted. But it definitely ebbs and flows. We kind of see it a little bit quieter around the times when there's school holidays, so winter breaks, and around those Thanksgiving holidays and spring break, which we just kind of saw a lot of a lull there, where people are kind of unable to bring or don't want to bring a pet into their home right before they're going to go on a big vacation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a great deal of sense. And so you mentioned that you took in 20 cats. Did they come from a rescue? Was it a hurricane situation, one of the hurricane situations?
It can be that, and it has been. And a lot of times what we can help with is if there's an area that knows it's going to have severe weather, let's say. We took in cats. In fact, my foster fail or foster win cat came from Texas on a plane when they were emptying the shelters, because they knew that with tornadoes and hurricanes, they would be refilling those shelters. So they're preemptive in getting those animals out. And then we're a great partner for that, to get those animals into homes like mine. But also there is so much overcrowding in some areas of the country, unfortunately, still. And so we have partners that we work with to transport animals to us. And yes, it could be 20 cats, 30 cats. You know, sometimes it's 3 cats, but there's 20 dogs. It depends on, you know, what their need is and what we have space for. Our physical facility gives us a great opportunity to take in animals in those kinds of quantities, to be able to, you know, at least get them sheltered and get them cared for. But the foster program is really what gives us the breathing room to say yes. So, you know, we can take all of those animals in, but, you know, that's the pressure relief valve then is to be able to then send some of them to foster. And that's hugely important, to be able to do that, especially with kitten season coming. We're going to need some of those fosters.
Absolutely.
Now, just for timing, because this show won't necessarily show in the month that we're talking about, tell our audience what is kitten season, what months? If you're looking for a kitten, what's the month to look for a kitten?
If you're looking for a kitten, you should check out our website around April to October. That's when we're getting a lot of pregnant mamas, a lot of kittens, and that's the best time, I think, to come try and get those little babies.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, any final thoughts about cat adoption that you'd love people to know? Cat volunteering?
Oh, there is plenty of volunteering to be done as well, which I think we're going to hear about. You know, cats, just like dogs, are social animals. And
Yes.
so, you know, there's certainly a lot of caretaking to be done, administrative work to be done, but spending time socializing with those animals and showing them love and care is a big part of what they need and what we strive for our volunteers to be able to provide.
So true. Well, thank you so much for being advocate for cats and, you know, putting your hands on and actually doing it. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time today on petinfocafe.com.
Thank you for having us.
I hope you've enjoyed our discussion and learned a lot from Kelly and Michaela. Don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we're speaking with Jennifer and Megan Rudo about their work as cat volunteers at PetSmart Cat Adoption Center. Welcome, everyone, to this very special interview with Jenny and Megan Rudo. We're going to talk about cat adoption, cat fostering, cat volunteering, and we'd love to hear all about it. So Jenny and Megan, please tell us about your volunteer specialties with cats.
So we go to the PetSmart at Seven Corners, and there's 3 shifts a day that we can sign up for. The morning and evening shifts are the ones where we're cleaning the cages, refilling their waters, getting them some food, and kind of just having them out and giving them some playtime. And then the midday shifts are everyone's favorites. They go so fast when we're signing up, because those are just playtimes to get the cats socialized with each other and with humans so that they're going to be more well-adjusted to being house pets.
That's so important. Tell me more about socializing a cat. What does that take? What do you do?
So a lot of the cats, usually when they're in the PetSmart, they already know that they're at least going to be okay with other cats and with humans, because they're going to be in a cage nearby with other cats. Sometimes if you have like a little, like 2 kittens that are like siblings, they'll be sharing a cage, so they'll always have a playmate with them. But we like to kind of introduce them to the other cats in the other cages to kind of get them well adjusted, because we know sometimes they're going into houses with either other cats or dogs or any other type of pet. And so we want to make that transition a lot easier. And it's also important to get them adjusted to being around humans, whether that's kind of like on their own terms, just chilling in the corner, getting pets, or whether they're all up in your faces trying to climb you.
Yeah, it's really definitely something you would just adapt to cats. You know, I've talked to other cat rescues about just the importance of that playtime, that socializing, and as your other volunteers said, you know, especially when you're dealing with the kitten, you know, really let's work all that kitten energy up and out. So, when did you all get started with volunteering?
We actually started before the pandemic, when there used to be in-person adoption fairs, and we started with those. And then when the pandemic hit, we shifted to virtual volunteering, and we made blankets that the rescue could use. We made some toys for the dogs that they could use. And when things started to open back up, that is when we shifted to doing in-person back again at PetSmart. And I also do a little virtual volunteering for them with their cat adoption and with the interviews. So it's been since 8th grade, so 5 years. We started with a mother-daughter group. That's how we started. We had to wait until Megan was 14. So we're going on our 5th year here.
All right, well, tell us more about the mother-daughter group. That sounds so delightful and wonderful.
Yeah, so we started with the Mother-Daughter Philanthropy Organization National Charity League. And so with that group, they partner with a bunch of different philanthropies. And Lost Dog happens to be our favorite, because we really miss the cats.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that group, kind of the 2 of us get to do a lot of different volunteer opportunities, whether that's at home, like making paracord bracelets or the blankets, as she said, or whether that's at events like at the adoption agencies or at like Women Giving Back stores, kind of helping with food pantries, things like that.
That sounds fun. Like you're with people you love, or you get to know, and so you have some human bonding as well as the animal service going along. Well, great. Tell us about, you know, the adopting a pet from PetSmart and how that works. And you know, there are adoption events. They're well publicized, and you have a particular one that you work at.
So the events there tend to be more for the dogs. The cats tend to be more that when we're there, people will come up to come meet and greet the cats, sometimes scheduled, sometimes not. And it's a great opportunity for them to come. We bring them back into the back part to be able to meet the cat, to play with them, and to help them a little bit and see how to interact, and if it's a good fit, to help them and to let them know to go on with the process to then fill out the application and such.
When people come to PetSmart, are they intentionally looking for a cat, or do they just see one and fall in love?
There's definitely a mix. There are some people that know, like if you look on the website, you can see this cat is at PetSmart, and if they really like them, they'll come and go and visit the cat. And then some people, they just walk in and see these cats in these cages and fall in love with them. That's what happened with our little Miles that we adopted from them.
Yeah, tell me about Miles. He did maybe he'll make another appearance for us.
Yes, he's currently playing with our router. So
oh yeah, tech cat, we love those.
So we met him at an adoption fair at 2 months old when we were volunteering. It was like him and his little kitten sibling, and they were super fluffy. He was the runt of the litter, so he was the smallest of them, but he has this white little tuft on him and then little white tufts under his arms. And so it took 4 months of convincing, but then at 6 months old, we got to adopt this little guy. You can say hi. He's considering it.
He was part of an in-person adoption event before COVID, and it's very hard to work some of those. You come home from everything going, well, maybe.
Oh yeah.
You fall in love a little.
It's always at the end of the event, if this cat isn't gone, we're taking him.
Well, besides Miles, are there any other great adoption stories, matchmaking stories that stick out, or special cats that you...
I will say there was one of my first interviews to help someone adopt a cat. And so I'm talking to the mom, and I hear in the background the kid, and I got off the phone afterwards and said to Megan, this is going to be the most loved cat ever, because the kid kept interrupting the interview going, no, Mom, we need to buy this. And I've already picked out all of these things for the cat, and he's going to sleep in my room. And when he heard that we suggest that for transitioning, you don't give them full access to your house right away. It can be a little overwhelming, and let's start out in a smaller area and slowly get them involved in.
Definitely. Now, have you been lifelong cat lovers? How did this come about?
I have always been a cat lover. It's been me and my cats my whole life. Always wearing, the cat ear headbands and the cat shirts. Always, my whole wardrobe was those.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. I've been a cat person my whole life. So,
Yes.
it was a natural fit.
It's been passed on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've had kitties always.
That's wonderful. So you're great pet parents, and you have the ability to make great advice. What advice do you give to someone who wants to adopt a cat? Should they adopt one? Should they adopt two? Should they talk a kitten or kittens or an older one? What advice do you have?
I think it's all about finding the right fit for your family. Cause sometimes when you have young kids and they always want the kittens, they always want, the tiny little ones. And if you're going to adopt a kitten, great, but they always need a friend because they need that little, the playmate to get all their energy out, or else, your kid might become the playmate, which sometimes works. But sometimes you just want a quiet little companion, and sometimes that's, those older cats. And sometimes those older cats have a ton of energy, but sometimes they just want to, sit next to you and kind of curl up on your lap.
I'm at home here, so here's one of them.
Oh,
This is Bala. Bala, you're on TV. Yeah. Oh.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Photo bomber. Here we go. Well, tell it. What advice would you have for someone who wants to volunteer and help with cats?
I'd say to just come up and ask. We're always looking for, more people to help out. And there's always, you can do the regular shifts where you're volunteering once a week or twice a week or however often you need to do it. And then there's volunteers like us. We usually take the substituting roles. So the volunteers that want to volunteer regularly sign up for their roles in advance. And then we get an email once a week saying, here's the roles available this week, and fill in wherever you want. And so it's kind of easy to be, consistent of I want to do this every single week, or just I feel like playing with some cats this week and I want to help out.
That's great. That's great. It just seems like the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation is very flexible. You can fit in as much or wherever you want.
That is exactly what I was going to add, is that this really can fit into anyone's lifestyle, whether you have an hour a week to give or an hour a month, or you just want to volunteer once every couple months, and whether you want to be in person and up personal with the cats, or whether you want to take more of a virtual role, there really is a fit for wherever someone is in their stage in life that they want to help out with kitties.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I think that's a great thought to close on.
I hope you've enjoyed this very special episode about the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation. If you'd like more information on this and other episodes, you may visit petinfocafe.com.